Hi darlings, my name is Daniella and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a college stats video on how I got into the universities I got to. So if you are into that, keep watching. Started, I just want to make a disclaimer that this is not in any way to brag about my stats or to brag about me or to say that this is how I got into these schools, because I obviously do not know what made these schools say yes to me. This is just what I did to put my best foot forward to get into the schools I got into. I applied in the fall of 2022 to start university in the fall of 2023. So I graduated high school in 2023 and I just finished my first year at university. I go to the University of Texas at Austin, hook 'em horns. Still wanted to make this video because one, I have been making a lot of college and UT Austin content over on my TikTok, and a lot of people have been asking about my stats. So if you want to see more of that content, follow me on TikTok, I'll put it on the screen. But also I applied with my SAT score for a lot of the schools, and now that that is a requirement, I thought it might be helpful for people to see. Again, I don't want people to think like you have to do exactly what I did, to not compare yourself. I just think it might be helpful because I watched a bunch of stats videos when I was in high school just to see like where I was and people who got into the schools I wanted to get into. I did do a bunch of videos during my senior year about my college admissions process. I did a video documenting applying to college. I did a video of my reactions and then also my decision. So if you want to see all of that, I'll put it in the card as well if you want to like follow that. So I wanted to start off by telling you guys what schools I applied to and then what round I applied to, so early action, regular decision, that type of stuff. What major I applied to as well. I applied to USC. I applied early action but was pushed back to regular decision, and I applied to their business and cinematic arts major as my first choice, and my second choice was just business administration. I applied to UT Austin. I applied with their priority deadline. My first choice major was business, and then my second choice major was communications. I also applied to Notre Dame. I applied early action and I applied as a business major, and then I didn't put a second choice major because I basically was like, if I don't do business, I don't want to do it. And I applied to TCU. I applied early action and I applied as a marketing business major, and my second choice major was communications. I also applied to University of Houston. I applied scholarship priority. My first choice major was business, and then my second choice major was communications. And I also applied to Howard. I applied early action. My first choice major was marketing, and my second choice major was international business. I applied to the University of Texas at Dallas. I also applied for their priority deadline. My first choice major was business administration, and my second choice major was communication. And then lastly, I applied to Baylor. I applied their early action deadline. My first choice major was business, and my second choice major was communication. Now I'm going to talk about like my academics, my grades, my GPA, my rank, and the classes I took. My high school rank, because I'm from Texas and we rank for certain universities, so I was 49. I have 765, which I just calculated, and I was in the top 6.4% of my class. My rank did go down after I applied, but that didn't matter because I applied with this rank, which means that I got automatic admission to University of Texas at Austin, which is how I got in like in general, but I still had to apply to get my major. I did not expect to get automatic admission to UT because I was just on the cusp of the top 6%, but I did get automatic admission. I applied my weighted GPA was a 4.11. Our GPA scale for weighted was out of 5, so I had a 4.11. My GPA did go up after this, but they only got to see this one. And my unweighted GPA was a 3.88. I'm not going to go through all of the classes I took in high school because I just don't think it's really that helpful, but I will just say that for my freshman and sophomore year, I took basically honors classes for everything. And I also did business classes throughout high school because my school offered stuff like that. So I was like a marketing pathway student, so I did marketing all throughout high school. I also took a couple like random classes. Like I took a graphic design class, and then I also took like a pre-health class. I don't think it's really important to tell you guys every single class I took because every single school is different. Requirements are different for every state, so like there's that. I was a straight A student, so I got A minuses and A's and A pluses, but I never had a B on my transcript. I did get B's in the quarters, but once we got to semesters combining grades, I did not get any B's. Just because I was that student like does not mean I didn't struggle. I failed many tests, I failed many quizzes. Like I did have to work really hard for the grades I did, but that was kind of like what that looked like. But I did want to talk to you all about my AP classes because I took a lot of AP classes. I started taking AP classes my freshman year of high school, and I think that was really helpful. My freshman year, I took AP Human Geography. That was the only AP class I took, and I got a 5 on that exam. My sophomore year, I took AP World History Modern. I don't know if that means anything, but it was basically WAP, and I got a 5 on that exam as well. Junior year, I took 4 AP classes. I took AP United States History, A-Push, AP Statistics, AP English Language and Composition, and AP Biology. So for A-Push, I got a 5. For Statistics, I got a 4. For English language and composition, I got a 4, and for biology, I got a 3. My senior year, I took 4 AP classes as well. I took United States government and politics, macroeconomics, environmental science, and English literature and composition. For government, I got a 3, macroeconomics, I got a 3, environmental science, I got a 3, and English, I got a 4. So basically, I did AP exams all throughout high school, and I think they were really, really helpful, really, really beneficial. They have gotten me to be a semester ahead in college, so I definitely recommend taking AP classes. But I think it's also really good to take AP classes to show colleges that you are willing to put in work and put in effort even in high school to do well and to like get good grades and all that type of stuff. These classes were not the easiest. Some of them were not super hard. Some of them were not very easy, but I definitely recommend taking AP exams and AP classes. And if you think you're going to stay in state, take dual instead, because I ended up staying in state. And I could have saved a lot of money low-key if I had done dual, but I did not plan to stay in state. If you have an inkling at all that you may go out of state though, definitely take AP exams because they transfer over better than dual enrollment with community colleges for like private schools and stuff. I also took SAT and the ACT. I did not apply with the ACT for any of my schools because I didn't do super well, but my SAT that I applied with was a 1400. This was a super score, so I think I combined like the reading and the math from 2 different exams, and I got a 1400, and that is what I applied with to majority of the schools I applied to. Okay, now I'm going to talk about my activities and extracurriculars that I put on my Common App. I had more than what I put on here, but this is what I applied with to majority of the schools. So the first thing that I put on my Common App was DECA. I was in DECA from my freshman year all the way to senior year. My senior year as a vice president of leadership for my chapter. I won 2nd place with my partner at our international career development conference my junior year, and so I was able to put that on my Common App applications. And then I made it to internationals every year except for senior year. We just don't talk about her. So I also put that on there. The next thing I put on my Common App was actually my YouTube channel. I put that I was a content creator because I started my YouTube channel my 2nd semester in my sophomore year, and I did it all through till now. I talked about all of the time that I put into filming, coming up with content, editing content, and uploading content. And then I talked about the views that I had received as well. And after that, I put an internship I did. I worked with a pretty big company my senior year, which was part of a class I had at my school. And so I talked about the internship I did for them. I was a marketing intern for a division of the company. And so I talked about what I had done for the company, and then also just showing that I had like real world experience. The next activity I put in was a club I created at my school, which was a mental health club. I only did it my junior year, but we tried it a little bit in my senior year, so I put it on there as well. And so I talked about founding the club, being the president of the club, and what we did in the club, and just how many people we got and the stuff like that. The next thing I put down was film club. I was the secretary of my film club my junior year, and then I was also in it my sophomore and senior year. So I put that on there and just talked about what I did. The next activity I put was that I was my senior class vice president. So I was in charge of planning basically all of our senior class activities. I planned prom, senior sunrise, senior sunset, like literally everything senior I was a part of. So I put that on there as well. Then I was part of my church production team. So I took photos at my church from literally since I was like in 7th or 8th grade to basically like my junior, senior year. So I talked about that and the volunteer experience that I had with them, and also just production experience as well. My 8th activity I put was that the summer before my freshman year going into the summer before my sophomore year, I actually had my own small business called Daniella's Shops. It started off as a scrunchie business. I made handmade scrunchies, and then summer before my sophomore year, I made these rope rainbows. This was during the time of COVID, the summer before my sophomore year, so I was just like selling stuff, wanted to make some extra money. So I put that on there, and I put how much money I made, the work I put in, and the fact that like I ran the business all by myself. The next activity I put was another internship I did. I did this my junior year, and it was basically run by this company, local company that wanted to find ambassadors for our school district, for the city and stuff. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically I did this. And so my junior year, I was chosen. We were like called influencers, and it was like an internship thing. And I got to work with a lot of people in like companies around me, and then also fellow students from districts around us. And then my senior year, I was chosen to be an ambassador for that. So I also was basically in charge of like being a leader for the incoming influencers, their influencer time. It's really hard to explain, but that was something that I did. And so I showed that I had really good leadership experience, I had networking experience, and I also was chosen to be an ambassador, which was like highly selective or whatever. The last thing that I put as an activity was that I was a nanny the summer before my senior year. So I was in charge of 3 little kids, and I tutored them, and I was just like in charge of their well-being and stuff. So I put that down as an activity as well. Those are the 10 activities I put in my Common App. If you can notice, a lot of them are business centered because like that was what I was applying for and like leadership and showing that I had, you know, that type of stuff. I also put a lot of like, I put my YouTube channel and like film club because I talked a lot about film and television in my Common App essay because that's something that's very important to me. So I showed that, and then I also put in like work experience and volunteering experience because I thought that was really important to show as well. I did apply to all the schools that allowed me to. I did apply with a college resume, so I showed more of the clubs that I did in high school for then. For my college resume, I just had a couple more things. I worked another job at Kumon for like a little bit, so I talked about that on my college resume. I did an internship with a church the summer before my freshman year, so I talked about that on my college resume just to show my leadership experience. My college resume, I also talked about the other clubs I was in. So I was in the National Honor Society and the National Technical Honor Society. I didn't think that they were that big or great just because a lot of people are in those things, so I didn't put that on my Common App, but I did put it in my resume to show that I was in them. And then I was also part of an anti-bullying club at my school as well. Didn't put that in because I didn't have any like leadership experience for them, but I was in that club all through from freshman year to senior year. My volunteer work, I also volunteered at the church I did the internship with the summer before my freshman year. I volunteered with them for a pretty long time, and then I also volunteered at my public library. I tutored kids, and I also wrote for a blog, and so I wrote that in my college resume as well. Now I'm going to talk about the awards and honors I put on Common App as well. I won second place at DECA Internationals. It was a project management community awareness project. We wrote a 20-page paper and we did fundraiser with local nonprofits. Me and my partner did this, and so we won second place, which was like the craziest experience ever in high school, I think. So I put that on there. I also was an AP Scholar with distinction. It's based off like taking a certain number of AP exams and then also scoring a certain amount. And so I got AP Scholar with distinction my junior year. Then I was also a College Board National African American Recognition Scholar. I don't really know what the details are about that, but it was basically like being a Black student and then also doing well either on like your SAT or like a bunch of AP exams. So I did that. My junior and senior year, I was recognized for that. I put that I was a DECA State winner and internationals qualifier for all 3 years of high school. At the time I had applied, we hadn't done competitions for my senior year, but I did that for freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year. And I also put that I was a district winner and state qualifier as a second thing, and I put that for all 3 years as well. So those were the 5 honors that I put for Common App. I did have a couple more, let me get them. I also received my district CTE award, which is our Career Technical Education Award, and I got that from being in DECA and like all the stuff I did for that. Those are all the awards I applied with as well. So that's basically everything that I applied with. I also obviously have my Common App essay, and if y'all want like an essays video, please let me know. Like I said, I don't know why I got into certain schools, but I think from what I know about the college admissions process, I can tell y'all what I think was what made me stand out for certain schools. I didn't get into USC, but they did tell me when I got rejected that it was more because of a numbers problem, and they invited me to a program to transfer in after my freshman year, but I chose not to do that just because I felt that if they didn't want me freshman year, then like what was the point of transferring in my sophomore year, and also because of how expensive USC was. I think that my stats were good, they just weren't good enough for how competitive the application pool was when I applied. For UT, obviously I said I got automatic admission, but I think the reason why I got into the Macomb School of Business was because of my extracurriculars and my experience with DECA and like the internships I did, because I think that showed that I really was a business-minded and business-focused person. Also, the small business I ran my freshman and sophomore year also I think made me stand out. For Notre Dame, I truly believe that the reason why I got into Notre Dame, outside of like what I put and what I applied with obviously, was my essays. I think Notre Dame has some of the best essay prompts because you really get to choose your own, and I really loved my Notre Dame essays. So I think that is part of the reason why I got into Notre Dame, and also why I got into their business school. I was guaranteed admission to their business school, and I think that was because of my essays and my extracurriculars. Those are part of the reasons why I think I got into those schools, but again, I do not know exactly how because I'm not an admissions person. That's basically like everything. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. And if you want an essay video, let me know and I can make one. My Common App essay was basically just about how I moved a lot as a kid. And so I talked about how like there wasn't a lot of consistency in my life. But one thing that was consistent was film and television, and how much I love film and television and how much it has shaped me to be the person that I am today. And I talked about how my love for film and television has translated to my desire to work in the film and television industry as a marketer to ensure that Black people and people of color in general get to see stories that tell their stories on the big screen and to feel represented in media. So that's basically what I wrote in my Common App essay. And then every college obviously had different essays. So if y'all want to get an essay video, please let me know and I'll make one. But that's basically all I did. High school is really what you make it, and I was a very focused and determined person. I knew that I wanted to get into a really good school, so I was planning for that basically from middle school. But I also still really did enjoy high school. I was not someone that would, you know, like stay up late to study. Like, I always had a rule, like after it was 12 a.m. I'm not doing nothing anymore, I'm going to bed. So like, don't think that you have to work yourself to the bone, because I don't think you should have to do that. I was still able to enjoy myself. I went to parties, I went out, I hung out with friends, I had my content creation and I did that on the side, and like I had fun. I was able to watch movies and TV shows and like hang out with family and friends and enjoy life in high school while also working hard. I think you just really need to be determined and know what your goal is and just like work towards that. I think if you work really hard and you show that in the work that you do, and also like your essays and what you apply to schools with, and just show yourself, that you will probably be 100% fine. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Again, if you want more details, if you have any questions, if you want my essays, please comment down below and I will make a video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Lonely, you're the reason why I can feel those butterflies when I go to sleep.